Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be looking at the 7.1 changes to the Disc Priest. So in 7.1 there was a couple of changes to the Disc Priest that were actually quite interesting to the playstyle. So I'm just going to go over them quickly and just what choices you now get in your talents. So the biggest thing they did was they nerfed the mana regeneration of Mindmender. So it was at 0.75, now it's down to 0.5. So this is actually a fairly large nerf to Mindmender. The mana return is now the lowest of all the talents in the tier. So Mindmender in a raid situation might not now be the best thing to take. There is, in shorter fights, definitely it still will be because it does provide the highest amount of damage. And in farm content, probably still will be the best one to take. But just because of how low the mana regeneration is now in comparison to something like Solace and Shield Discipline, Mindmender in progression content probably won't be a viable option. So the second change was they buffed Solace to bring it more in line with Shield Discipline. Now, Solace and Shield Discipline provides about double the amount of mana per second that Power Word Solace does, but the thing you have to take in account when you're taking Solace as well is that you're essentially getting a free global every 12 seconds, and then obviously minus haste because the cooldown's reduced by haste. So you're usually going to be using a Solace in replacement of a Smite. So you'll find yourself, you're saving about 1,000 mana a second then. So that will bring Solace in line with its mana regeneration with Shield Discipline. So really the two talents side by side have about the same mana return. The only difference is that you don't really have the globals for Solace. So as you get into harder progression fights, you'll find yourself casting Smite less, just because you're casting more Please, more powered shields, more, you want to have more dots up. You want to just be you generally are casting around 20 smites per fight in a really hard progression fight. So like say Cenarius, Il'gynoth, things like that, where your healing is a much larger portion of what you're doing. So in those fights, that's where you want to be taking Shield Discipline because you don't have the globals for the Solace, and you don't have the globals to be using the Solace on cooldown. So now the general go-to for a lot of fights is Shield Discipline. But Solace is definitely viable to take. There is nothing wrong with taking Solace if you are finding yourself you do need, say, a lot of mana, say something like Dragons. I think Solace would be a great spell to take because it is something you can use on the move. You are using a lot of smites on Dragons. So that's kind of the situation where Solace would outperform something like Shield Discipline. Alright, so the next change, the next big change really is to Contrition. So this is a huge buff to Contrition. So Contrition was almost viable for a fight like Dragons, especially if you're already in farm. Contrition became better as Twist of Fate lost value. So this is a 50% buff to Contrition. So now the consensus is you're taking Contrition pretty much on every raid boss fight, except for something where you're going to get an extremely high uptime on Twist of Fate. So the perfect example is Ursoc. Ursoc, you pretty much have Twist of Fate up for about 80% of the fight, 70-80% of the fight. So that's where Twist of Fate just purely outdoes Contrition. But Contrition is still a very good talent to take in that scenario as well. So you want to be taking Contrition now for pretty much all of the fights except for Ursoc. Alrighty. And now Clarity Will's reduced cast time. So this still is a very niche talent. You don't want to be taking it over Halo unless you have a specific use for Clarity of Will. I'm not really sure why they did this. Clarity Will really doesn't have a place even with, if it is a viable, heal. It's not part of the disc playstyle, so this is kind of a weird one, but it's good to see that the talent's slightly better now, but it still will not be outweighing Halo. Alrighty, well I hope this was informative and thank you for watching.